speaking of looking great, Brett Dolan's with us on the Lewis Automotive Hotline. Where in the world is Brett Dolan today?
I'm in the Lone Star State, and that was a perfect segue, by the way. I love that.
Very good. What's going on in Texas?
Just a chance to throw some BP, maybe, work out my daughter a little bit, see how the shoulder and arm's feeling. So I get to be a pretend coach for a couple of days and wear her out.
Sounds like fun, Mick. If you're going to be throwing batting practice for softball, do you do it underhand or overhand?
Yeah, I do, and it's not good. And in fact, at times it can be pretty terrible. I just try and find a little rhythm where I can get 6-7 pitches in a row somewhere near the strike zone and go retrieve everything that's been hit.
It's like Little League distances, too, for softball, Brett. So are you going to have an L screen, or are you just going to duck?
No, I need an L screen. I'm getting to that point. It's not as if my old reactions are that poor, but the close distance, I don't need to take anything off my forehead or worse, my ankles or whatever else. So there's a definite L screen.
All right. So where else because I know you've been all over the place. You've been in Colorado. Have you been in Arizona? And now you're in Texas? Like, when do you not travel?
And then next week I've got a Braves-Yankees game a week from tomorrow, and then I'm going to see my son in Nashville, and then I'm coming back, and I'm going to San Diego for Mets-Padres. So it's not a busy month, but it's just a few things. So I had a chance to go to Colorado. They got a massive youth softball tournament, and saw our Arkansas staff there and did 4 telecasts, and then snuck over to Phoenix. We didn't do the Perfect Game showcase this year, although I popped in and saw the Diamondbacks and Royals and got a chance to visit with James McCann. So I try and make the most of this slower time here in the summer month as best I can.
Yeah, isn't Arizona the only team that's got 2 Razorbacks? Jalen Beeks and now McCann, who started the year with the Braves AAA and is now in Arizona. And we were talking a little bit off the air with Clay, and he thought that McCann may be getting some more playing time because they like a veteran catcher, and they got younger catchers who may have a little issue. I don't know if it's speaking the language, but a culture issue at Arizona. And then McCann, I think, might fit what they need.
We had a couple of hits the game that I saw him start. Certainly that was nice. And, I hope there's a chance for him to stick. I think he was probably worthy of being in the big leagues earlier when he was kind of stuck in the minors, I believe, in Atlanta's system. But, it was my first chance to meet him, Phil. I know he was in the ballpark a few years ago during the lockout early in the season, maybe early March, and I didn't get a chance to visit with him then, but certainly a very professional guy. He came in with his 2 kids, and it was nice to say hello. And I just brought up Ryder Helfrich's name because I know DVH likes to reference James McCann when he talks about Ryder as far as being a all-around performer and a guy who could be a future pro, and obviously coming from California. And he mentioned to me he certainly followed Ryder as best he could this year because he knows of the parallels. So it was a fun visit.
Sorry, so you said you got Braves, Yankees next week. Is that MLB Network? Where does this air?
That is correct. So it'll be the first game back out of the All-Star break. So it's my dugout reporting role that amuses me a little bit because I don't do a lot of it. But that'll be fun. That'll be Judge back in Atlanta after the All-Star game, and that'll be, again, a week from Friday. And then they threw me another Mets-Padres game 2 weeks from Monday. So it's a chance to kind of get out and work a couple of big league games before we grind towards August and the fall.
So where the Yankees didn't just bench DJ LeMahieu, they DFA'd him. I mean, he was total favorite, and he may have won an MVP or come pretty close maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Was still a productive hitter even 2 years ago. Now he's looking for a job, and Jazz Chisholm at second base.
Wild, isn't it? Didn't he win a batting title?
I think that's what it was. Yeah, that's right.
Which is strange. I mean, it's hard as a baseball fan to kind of watch the ebbs and flows of some of these teams. There was a time about a month ago, the Mets and Yankees were probably 2 of the top 5 teams in baseball, and they could barely win games for a month. And, the Twins were terrible. Then they win 13, 14 in a row, and they're back to being terrible again. So it's really hard to kind of figure out who's good, who's not. And there seems to be a smaller and smaller core of really good teams. And, boy, the teams that aren't in that mix or trying to stay in that mix have gone through either injury troubles or transactions, and that would be a pretty crazy one to throw into that list.
You've been to All-Star games before? Then where is it, Atlanta this year? That's always fun. I love the All-Star game because, to me, it's the only All-Star game that may be worth watching, truthfully.
Yes. I mean, I would agree. I mean, the NBA is a hard watch, and baseball is a fun one. And I've been to one in Coors Field a number of years ago, and then to Kauffman Stadium when Bryce Harper was a rookie and Jose Altuve made his first game. And I kind of wanted to go. My son works for the Braves, and he had a chance to kind of help and work out of the home run derby, but it's his break, so he's flying elsewhere, and I was going to try and sneak in. It won't happen for me. I'll be there right after the break instead. But I'm with you. It's the one fun game, and I think we've got this year. If I saw the number, Phil, it was in excess of 20 players combined on the two rosters that are 25 or 26 years or younger. So it really is kind of the new wave of baseball talent. Hopefully they'll put on a good show for their big window.
Guys move their way up a lot quicker now than they used to when you and I were doing minor league baseball. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think we see it every day in the SEC. We see better competition. We see better velocity. I think probably, and neither one of us was doing a lot of college baseball probably 12, 15 years ago, but you didn't see the arms at the college ranks that probably compared to the minors, or you didn't see the depth of the volume or whatnot. It feels like at times when we're seeing a really good SEC series, there might be more potential pros there than if you drove over to Arvest Field and saw a double-A game, if you catch the wrong teams on the wrong days there. And it's just because I think the college ranks have done a better job developing talent and getting guys at least ready for their opportunity at the next level. So then if you excel, if you're a Jack Caglione or some of the guys we've seen, and still waiting to see Hagen Smith on that list, the guys can move fast once they get into the minors because of that. And, it's exciting to see, and I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon.
Caglione got up really quickly. He's hitting pretty well. It's pitchers that move rapidly through because you can tell how dominant they are. You just think of Skeens. And looking at a couple pitchers that are going to be first-round picks, Cade Anderson, Gage Wood. Now, Gage is not going to be the first overall pick. He'll be somewhere in the teens. Anderson very well could be the top overall pick. This is different than when it was, well, you're going to take Skeens or you're going to take Cruz. And it was the Pirates that are making that choice. The Nationals are making that choice, and they got the pick. They got the second pick when it came to Skeens and Cruz. This is a college pitcher who looks like he's really close to the big leagues in Anderson versus a couple of high school infielders who have big league roots. And Eli Willits from Oklahoma, Ethan Holiday who's, of course, father is Matt Holiday. Eli Willits' dad is Reggie Willits, who's an assistant coach at Oklahoma and played in the big leagues for a few years. If you are making the choice for Washington, and some of it has to do with what they need, why wouldn't you take the major league ready lefty? Why wouldn't you?
Well, I would, for sure. I mean, I think Cade Anderson had put himself in position for that discussion. I know the game we saw him throw at Omaha. He carved up a really good offensive Razorback team, and they were just struggling. And I believe that translates quickly to the professional ranks. Now, the caveat is that the Nationals fired their general manager with longtime scouting background Mike Rizzo and their manager a couple of days ago, a few days before the draft. So I don't know what that does for their decision-making, but I would take Cade Anderson in what is a shortstop-heavy draft and maybe a college pitcher-heavy draft as well. But no, I think Anderson would be my pick if I had to go 1-1.
Is Aloy going to be a shortstop? Will he? Because I know he can play a lot of other positions. But to me, maybe some of it has to do with the team's needs and who they already have at short. And so they think, well, with this guy's bat and athleticism, we'll try him somewhere else. But I've always thought watching Wehiwa as short, he's a shortstop at the next level.
I feel like he is, and I'm intrigued at times with the conversation on whether or not that'll be his position. Now, there's a couple of things that pop up. I don't know if we've ever seen quite the number of shortstops this year in the draft. And I know you were talking about it the other day when it comes to the postseason All-Americans, whether it's Chalowski, who's a sophomore, it's Lodis, it's Houston. There's a number of different guys that were really good shortstops, and Willits, and there's some high school kids as well. Obviously, Holiday's probably a shortstop. So you have your pick. So I don't know how that affects teams' decision-making. And the only other thing with that, Phil, is when we watched Bregman come through LSU, he was clearly a really good college shortstop, but he moved to third because Houston had Correa, and it was an easy transition, and teams were shifting, and the third base position was a little bit of a hybrid left side of the diamond infielder. And so I don't think anymore after watching Bregman go through that if you do have to move, it's a slight on your game that you can't play shortstop. I think there may be a situation where if you get into a shortstop-heavy organization like Boston or others where maybe you're asked to play third base. But I want to see him at least start at short because you and I both know if you're an outfielder, you want to start in center and then get shifted to left or right. And if you're an infielder, you want to start at short. And if they want to move you to second or third, they can do so. It just keeps your options available.
All right, Brett, we'll let you go for batting practice. For your, do you know how to throw the drop? Can you throw the drop, or is this just, heave it as fast as you can and hope you don't hit her?
Yeah, I hope that I get some natural drop when I'm trying to hit the strike zone and I miss by 2 feet. So as long as I don't get hurt with the O screen and I give her something to hit where she doesn't just roll her eyes or start yelling at me, it'll be a successful day.
Maybe put one of those little face masks the softball pitchers wear. That might come in handy.
I should. I need to get one of those. That would be fantastic for a visual.
BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. With baseball season in full swing, BetOnline has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, scores, and even live in-game betting while the games are being played. We keep the dog days of summer rolling with the largest selection of odds on everything. With updated odds on the MLB, UFC, and boxing to tennis and NFL futures, BetOnline remains the best online source for all your sports wagering information. In between games, head over to the BetOnline Casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. BetOnline. The game starts here.